Hello, friends, and welcome to Electoral Bond Analysis. Yet another lecture. This is Professor Arvind Prasad. In this lecture, we will learn how political parties and how much have political parties encashed electoral bonds. So, this is going to be a redemption analysis. If you remember, we had downloaded two sets of data. One was purchase and one was redemption, where the redemption data had which political party had got how much electoral bonds, that is the value. So we'll be analyzing that and see who are the top receivers and what time and when did they receive the donations, and that's going to be a real interesting analysis. So you all are familiar with this sheet. This sheet is something we have discussed in the last lecture. And now we'll do something. What we'll do is we'll hide these worksheets. Okay. So we'll have to keep one visible worksheet. So let's do something. Let's take purchase, donor, breakdown, and let's hide it. And that would make it a bit convenient. And then what we do is we again go and import the data of redemption. So we go to file, we go to Excel and load. We go to where we had the clean data. So that's going to be in electoral bonds data, clean data, and EB data clean, and click on import. Now, once this opens, this is the table for redemption. So what we do now is we load it, and this time we click on load to, and we say table, new worksheet, and we add this to our data model and click OK. So let the data load. That's right. So now what we have is the first interesting piece of information. So let's close it. First, to understand the interesting piece of information, the total number of bonds purchased and that were paid for or that were redeemed, the total number of bonds, the information of the total number of bonds that were purchased is 18,741. That is 18,741 bonds were purchased and redeemed. But the redemption data shows that 20,430 bonds, 421 bonds were actually redeemed. It means the bonds that were redeemed were more than the information of the bonds that were redeemed is more than the information of bonds that has been purchased. And that is something which is very disturbing. We were told by State Bank of India that all the information that is available to it has been provided. But here this difference clearly shows that roughly 2,000 bonds information is just not available. That is, who were the purchasers? They were redeemed. But the purchaser information is not available. Why? Because the number of bonds for which information, purchase bonds for which information is available is 8,741 and that of redeemed is 20,421. Now, this is something which we all need to understand, that somehow, this is my personal opinion, that a total transparency has not yet come out into this entire fiasco. Right. Now let's get back to redemption. So in redemption, let's double click the redemption. So we can do it this way. We can go on edit. That's right. Now here what we find is serial number, date of encashment, name of the political party, account number, prefix, denomination. Now let's take the denomination column and transform it to currency. So that will make it convenient. And do we have a status on this? No, we do not have a status on this. So they have all been redeemed. Right. So let's analyze this information now. So what we do is we close it. and we go to data. Before that, yes, let's save it. Now we go to data. From data, we go to manage data model and we go to diagram view. Now in diagram view, we find two tables, that is one of purchase and one of redemption. Now in redemption 2, serial number, account number of political party, which is not completely given and hidden for reasons of secrecy, pay branch code and pay teller. So pay branch code may help us in later in our analysis, but let's take about no, it may not help us. Let's forget it. So what we have to look into is that the information that is really important to us. So the information that is important is name of the political party, date of the encashment, prefix, bond number, and denomination. So let's hide the others. So political party, account. Oops, no, we don't have to create an hierarchy. Let's delete it off. Delete it from the model. Okay. So name of the political party, date of encashment, name of the political party, account number. No, we need to hide it. Then afterwards, teller, hide it. So we have hidden the information which really gets irrelevant in our analysis. And now what we do is we go to pivot tables. So let's now first in the pivot table find out what is the total amount of money that the various political parties have redeemed. So for this, what we do is we go click on pivot table, new worksheet, and there we are. Click on it. As you see here, nothing opens. So we go to pivot table analyze and we click on field list. Now this will give us all the fields that are available. Now we go to redemption, and in redemption we take name of the political party and put it in rows. And then we go to denominations, and there we are. Now denominations, once again we go to value field setting, number format, currency, reduce the decimals, and click OK. And click OK. There we are. Now this mumbo jumbo of numbers really doesn't help us in any way in understanding things, but a graph would. So let's click this and go to insert and then go to pivot chart, and there we are. The relevant chart, boom, here it is. And let's close this window and let's really analyze our information that we have got now. That is in this chart. Let's expand this chart and have a look at it. So there we are. Now the first information that we get from this chart is the highest receiver of political funds is BJP. As you can see. Well, I know the political party which is in power definitely gets the highest amount of donations. But you see, we have competing parties now. The first amongst the competing parties, or let's say first amongst equals, is Trinamool Congress. And that's a surprise. Trinamool Congress, a regional party, gets the second highest donation. Now this is followed by Congress, which is then followed by BRS, which is a strongly regional political party. Well, Congress is, of course, as we can see here, its political fortunes are down. But regional parties like Trinamool Congress, BRS, Biju Janata Dal, and DMK, their fortunes are rising. Now, try and understand here. Nobody bets on a losing horse. If nobody bets on a losing horse, it's natural that yes, BJP should get it because it's in power. But regional parties getting money, it means donors do feel that there is some political value in them. And that's more interesting. How do regional parties play a very important role in the overall politics of the country? And this funding also shows that their significance is going up. Remember that their significance is going up. Now, a further way to understand this is, let's take this entire graph and reduce it a bit and do one more analysis on this. Let's go to data, or rather let's go to power pivot and power pivot analyze, and here let us go to insert timeline and date of encashment, select it off, and there we are. Now let's see what happens. We take this here and we take this up and we put it here. Let's tag it here, let's take it here, and instead of months we take it to years. Now Excel gives you the most interesting analysis of redemption. In 2019, the highest amount of bond redemption was only by Bharatiya Janata Party, and other parties received very little money. But let's see how the scenario changes. Come 2020, things have changed. Now, all of them are more or less receiving good funding. Let's say Trinamool Congress is going up, but BJP, yes, it's gone down. Biju Janata Dal, it's gone up. DMK, it's gone up. And YSR Congress, it's gone up. Now, let's take 2021. Again, what we see here, there is redistribution of funds. Trinamool Congress, interestingly, has gone up. BJP, of course, takes the leading position, but BRS, DMK, Congress, and YSR Congress, they're gaining. Now, 2022. Again, we see there's a huge amount of rise in party donation to BJP. Now, what could be the reason for it? You see, it started off with the highest position. Then there was a redistribution in the coming 2 years. Then again, there is a sudden spike, and the redistribution has, or the distribution has seen to it that BJP gets the maximum amount and others get a lesser amount. Now, 2023. Well, little gains, and suddenly Congress has gained. And 2024 once again, but 24 data is something which we shouldn't be worrying ourselves much because it's not complete. Well, somewhere in February itself, it was decided, or March to be very sure, it was already decided, yes, the electoral bonds will no longer exist. But still, BJP received a lot, and so did Trinamool Congress. Now, what explains this? BJP, top, then slowly a redistribution, then again a redistribution, then again BJP has stopped. Then again, if you go to see, BJP is the highest. Now, again, two conclusions here. Conclusion number one, regional parties do play a very important role. And number two is the donation going higher to BJP. I wouldn't like to express the reason for it. All of you know it well. I think you guys know it. That really should not be happening in our country. You see, the party which is in power now, I have my fair amount of criticism and insights to give in this. The party in power has always traditionally in our country received the highest amount of donation. That is a fact. When Congress was in power before 2014, Congress received the highest amount of donation at that point of time. And it was, of course, 50% to 100% more than what others received. In fact, more than what BJP received. But here comes the fact, once again, that while regional parties are gaining, there's a lot of muddy stuff going around. Where some amount of coercion is being used on regional parties. And the data seems to make it obvious that why would the coercion actually occur? Now, you call it coercion. I would rather not call it coercion at sometimes. It could be fair also. There could be fairness in the law being implemented and the agencies doing their bit to ensure that the rule of law survives in the country. But yes, we all should be thinking over this. It's important for us. And we shouldn't believe that apart from BJP, others do not receive funding. That's incorrect. They do receive funding. And yes, corporates do spend on regional parties. And corporates do give money to Congress. It's not that only BJP receives funds. That's not the correct idea. Well, a lot of talk has been done in the independent news channels about BJP receiving funds from this, that, everything. Nobody talks about Congress, BRS, and the Trinamool Congress. Why? Well, the party receiving the highest fund cannot always be wrong. The Congress at one point of time got the highest funding. So these are the thoughts which I have shared with you, and I hope you will do some introspection and try and understand. And it's not less. If you look at the entire timeline, okay. So if you want to know what was the entire timeline donation received, that is from 2019 to 2024, then let's delete this off. And let's have a look at this and take this data. Copy it out. Paste it once again here. And take the values here and divide it by 1 raised to 7. And there we are. So this gives a very clear picture of how much money has been received in crores. So what we find here, 12,796 crores is the total amount of redemption. Well, it's very close to what was the amount of money spent, and obviously it is more than what is the amount of bonds that were purchased, and I have explained already the reason for it. Now what we find here is since 2019, Aam Aadmi Party has received 65 crores. Congress has received 1,421 crores and BJP 6,660 crores. Right? So that's way more double than Congress. Okay, it's way more double than Congress. And then afterwards, yes, Trinamool Congress seems to have received more than Congress. And that makes it a strong contender in national politics. Remember one thing here, figures speak. In news channels, debates are done, mudslinging is done, but facts are not presented. But here, we are dealing with real numbers and numbers from data which has been published. Now, BRS2 has received good amount of funding, and Shiromani Akali Dal, well, Shiv Sena, 159 crores. That's good. That's really good. TDP, upcoming party, it was almost going into the jungles, and suddenly, TDP appears in the scene, and it's 218. Now, what we do here? So, we can see here now parts of India bloc. DMK is a part of India bloc. Trinamool Congress is a part of India bloc. Now, this is AIDMK, of course. Then what we have now is NCP is a part of India bloc, I suppose. Congress is a part of India bloc. And YSR Congress Party. So, India bloc does have might. It is not that nobody is funding India bloc. Once again, I put it here. Nobody in corporate funding, nobody funds on losing horse. Nobody funds parties which they know cannot perform. Therefore, the conclusion is 2024 election or 2023 election, 24 election is going to be interesting. And that is what is my conclusion, that 2024 election is going to be really, really interesting. We will have to see that how political parties manage their funds wisely and do the best campaigning. And once again, we end this lecture by pointing out political parties are heavily funded by corporates. The agendas are sold to common people. But people who sponsor elections will have their say. That was all, friends. Goodbye. Have a great time.